All right, we're sitting here at 12:05, so I'd say let's go ahead and get started.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you for joining us today for the Potential Affairs presentation. My name is Edna Para, Community Engagement and Outreach Manager at CapMetro. We look forward to discussing our fair programs with you. I know everyone is very busy, so we really appreciate you taking the time to participate and engage with us on this topic. Some general housekeeping. We have live closed captioning available in English. You can turn this feature by clicking the closed caption button in the Zoom meeting toolbar, which is located in the bottom middle of your screen. We also have Spanish available for this meeting, and I will now switch over to Spanish. Buenas tardes a todos. Queremos agradecerles por acompañarnos hoy para la presentación de tarifas potenciales. Mi nombre es Edna Parra y soy la gerente de participación comunitaria en CapMetro. Esperamos discutir nuestros programas de tarifas con usted hoy. Muchas gracias por acompañarnos. Ya sabemos que están muy ocupados, pero es muy importante que escuchemos su voz en esta área. Si desea escuchar esta presentación en español, tenemos interpretación disponible. Para escuchar en español en sus computadoras, presionen el icono del globo en la parte de abajo de su pantalla. Si están en sus tabletas, hagan clic en los tres puntillos y seleccionen interpretación de idiomas y su idioma preferido. Y no se le olviden presionar listo. Otra vez, muchas gracias. Thank you so much. I will now be passing it on to our EVP, Chief Experience and Engagement Officer at CapMetro, Brian Carter. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Edna. Good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate the time that you're spending with us this afternoon to roll through some educational materials that we have begun to use with our community to help unpack, understand our potential fair programs that we hope to be implementing here starting this year at CapMetro. We can move forward to those slides and we'll start our presentation here. Something that we wanted to ground our work here in is the core values of the agency. And so we put these here and present these here as a reminder for us, but also a reminder to our community on the values that we use in all of our projects to make sure that the work that we're doing is connected to those things that we really feel strongly about as an agency that define our work and define what we're mean to do to represent the community. Some of the themes that we'll use for this presentation in particular are going to hit on equity and innovation, because the work that we're going to do through our fair programs, our potential fair programs, underscore those values specifically. So a review here of our agenda. We are going to be going through a review of the fair strategy for CapMetro. We're also going to look at the technology that we'll use in this new system, and we'll show you why it's important for us to be able to build these potential fair programs on a new system, a new technology system. We'll work through two of the elements of the proposed fair changes, which would be fair capping and a new fair category called Equifare. We'll also review a Title VI analysis that is underway, the community engagement elements that we'll use in order to educate and involve our community in this process, and some of those next steps. On this slide, we're looking at a visual of what our fair strategy for the agency is. We've developed this slide as far back as the end of last year, where we took this to the board and described these many facets, these different components of our total fair strategy and what we mean by each one of those components. And you'll see those highlighted around this shape. Again, focusing today on a couple of these elements, primarily with equity and our fair structure. I'll focus first on some of the fair structure. We need to look at all the different types of alternative fare structures in order to complete a well-rounded fare structure system. That includes fare capping that we're going to talk about today. I mentioned equity as well because we believe as though we should have affordability for all populations and specifically those that are in those low income populations. And so how can our fare programs support that through some of the policy changes that we could bring to our board? And so we'll look at that today as well. And then technology is there at the bottom. We're going to talk about that a bit too, because we are going to advance some of the technology that we are currently using. And the two pieces of fare policy that we'll look at, fare capping and Equifare, are only made possible with some of the new technology that we're going to implement. So that technology becomes a foundational piece to make it possible for us to make some of these changes to our fare policy. Let's start with technology then, because as I mentioned, this is necessary for us to build in some of those new fare policy changes. And this starts with the introduction of an account-based system. So that's a new thing for us. And we have called this new account-based system AMP. So why AMP? Why the name AMP? We believe that there is some natural connections to this word AMP and what we're doing with our electric bus fleet. We also think that with Austin being the live music capital of the world, AMP also references music and brings up those ideas of music. And that could be a really fun way for us to engage with the community as we start to do education on this. We also think it has a bit of energy to itself. It has a vibrancy to the name. And so we hope to get people energized, amped up on the value of transit and what this system could provide to them in terms of benefit. So the way that this system will work is CapMetro customers will use their AMP accounts, their account-based this account-based system to pay for fares with either the CapMetro app or with an AMP account smart card. And the artwork that you see here on the screen is a sample of what that smart card artwork would look like. So here's some of the next steps that we have in trying to roll this out to our community. In order to get a physical card, we're going to be distributing those through what we call street teams. These are community engagement team members and other staff members at CapMetro that will be out within the community at events, meeting people where they're at to provide them with these cards. That includes those pop-up events. So we may appear at Republic Square, we may appear on Congress Avenue, we may appear in places all around town, and we'll be providing these cards to folks. For people who want to come to us and receive that, though, they will also be available at the CapMetro Transit Store. There's also an element of registering the card. So when you register the card, you're going to get an initial load of funds to the card. And what's nice about registering too is that it secures the funds on your card, so that if the card is lost or misplaced, that the card can be replaced and your account balance is totally secure. You'll be able to reload that card at about 250 local retail locations, so you can take cash into the stores and reload your card there. And then you can start paying as you go to earn those daily passes or day passes and month passes with the physical card. On the virtual card, that's going to be within the CapMetro apps. You'll download the CapMetro app. You'll register and tie your credit card to your AMP account, and that your credit card and your AMP account will work together to pay for those fares, and that will allow you to add or to earn those day passes and monthly passes. As I mentioned before, that CapMetro retail network, we have 250 plus locations at the retailers' logos that you see there on the screen. And we have some interactive maps and resources that we'll make available to where you can find any of those retail locations very easily via the CapMetro website. Some of the other benefits of having an account-based system, and how our technology will enable fare programs. These AMP cards, both the virtual card and the physical smart card that I mentioned to you before, are going to allow that stored value. So again, if the card is lost or stolen, we can replace that card, and you don't have to lose that value. It's the same thing with your phone. If your phone is damaged, lost, stolen, as long as you download the app, register or sign into your account on another phone, you'd be able to access your account balance in that way too. Once you find that replacement device. Some other things that will allow us to do is to apply some of those discounted fare benefits to your account. So as customers register your AMP card, they'll be able to access the benefits that are available to them as they qualify for them, which would include the current reduced fare category that we have, along with the Equifare category as well. And then for fare capping is going to be available for every AMP card, whether you register it or keep it unregistered. With fare capping, customers using that AMP card, they're never going to pay more than the total cost of a day pass in a calendar day, or the total cost of a monthly pass in a calendar month, meaning that customers with a registered AMP card or account will always get the best fare that's available to them. We've already heard some questions from our community about AMP accounts, and so we wanted to present those here to you too, in case you had some of those similar questions. How do you load money on your AMP account? To reload your card, you either go online with a credit card. You can do that through the app, or you can use cash at a retail store location. Again, that's around 250 plus local locations. How can I get the AMP account in my CapMetro app? You'll be able to download the new CapMetro app and register for an AMP account when that's available, which will be a little bit later this year. Is the AMP smart card free? Quite simply, yes. So that's always good news. Can I use the physical card and virtual card interchangeably? Customers are going to need to use either the physical card or the virtual card to earn monthly fare capping. And so when you start to use this card to help pay for your fares, just choose which one that you want to use, either the physical card or the virtual card. We're going to look now at some of the potential fare programs that we'll be asking our board to take action on, and that is fare capping and Equifare. First, we'll take a look at fare capping. So what is fare capping? We wanted to give you an overview of this program and then walk through some examples of how it works with you. So this eliminates the upfront cost for our riders and that burden of purchasing a monthly pass or even a day pass, and replacing it with a pay-as-you-go contactless system. So as you continue to pay for rides, you'll be able to earn those day passes and monthly passes as you meet the requirement of those different passes. This also offers an equitable option for our customers, because you're able to pay as you need those rides and take those rides with CapMetro, instead of paying up front for the full cost of a day pass or a monthly pass. Fare capping is going to be available on every AMP card, and that's with or without registering the card too. So we're going to go through a few examples of how fare capping works, so we can show a good picture of what this looks like in practice. So in a single day here, we're looking at ride 1, where the single ride costs $1.25. Ride 2, you're automatically upgraded to that day pass when you pay that $1.25, and then any additional rides 3, 4, could be 5 and 6, they're all going to be included. Because you have earned the price or earned the value of a day pass through buying just 2 of those rides. So after you pay for 33 trips in a month, you'll be able to ride for the rest of that month. So if you are regularly using CapMetro and you're riding it to and from locations, then you'll find that you'll be able to earn a monthly pass by about the middle of the month. maybe a couple of days after that. But if you're using our services daily, and you're taking trips to and from places, you'll probably be able to find that you'll earn a monthly pass around the middle part of the month. So with fare capping, here are some of the steps that you've got to take in order to use our fare capping benefit. You've got to get your AMP account or your AMP card, because I mentioned before the AMP card will be available for you to use fare capping with or without registering it for an account. But you do need to add value to the AMP card, and so you can add cash to the AMP card at any of those retail locations that I mentioned to you before, or if you're using the virtual card, you'll be able to do that on the app. You just tap your card or use the app to pay as you go. It's going to be deducting the value that you put into the card from as you pay when you board the services. And then once you've reached the daily cap, you'll earn a day pass to receive free rides for the rest of the day. Once you've reached that month's cap, though, you've earned a monthly pass, and you'll receive free rides for the rest of the month. Some other FAQs that we've heard, frequently asked questions on fare capping. The first one here is, will fare capping be available for everyone? Yes. It's each customer with a physical or virtual card can receive fare capping. The next question, do you have to register your AMP card to receive fare capping? Again, that answer is no. You do not have to register the card. You can use a physical AMP card that does not need to be registered. Why register your card? What are some of the benefits there? As I mentioned before, if you lose your registered card, then we can transfer your balance, the amount of stored value on that card, to a new card. So it's a great security feature. If you are eligible to receive a discounted fare, like the reduced fare category or the potential new Equifare category, we'll be able to put those benefits on your AMP account so that when you use your cards, you're getting the best rate that is available to you that you've qualified for. So let's talk a little bit about this new fare category, this proposed fare category called Equifare. Equifare is a potential fare program that offers discounted fares for those eligible customers. Eligible customers may apply online at the transit store, and then once they enroll, they'll receive a discounted fare through the AMP account. Equifare customers are also able to take advantage of fare capping, and they'll be able to apply those additional savings for their rides each month. And then looking at the best practices for eligibility and enrollment to reduce barriers to the program is something that we want to do here over the next several weeks so that we can make it as easy as possible for those who are eligible to receive this discounted rate to get into the program and start receiving those benefits. We've taken some cues from other transit agencies around the country when building out this new fare category called Equifare. Just up the road from us in Dallas, they're using something very similar to this with their Discount Go Pass. And we've studied their program, have talked to their staff about how their program works and what are some key learnings that we could bring here to Austin as we roll out our program. I want to do a bit of a review here of the current fare types that we have so you can see how this compares to Equifare in this potential new category. With the standard fare rate here, you'll see that for local bus and commuter bus and rail, this commuter passes, the single ride all the way through the monthly pass is the full fare rate. So when we say standard fare, we're talking about the full fare rate for those transit passes. The other category that we have today for discounted fares is called our reduced fare. The reduced fare is 50% off that standard or full rate transit pass. And we've listed the categories of folks who are eligible to receive the reduced fare rate, and that is seniors 65 and older, Medicare card holders, active duty military personnel, and riders with disabilities. We put an asterisk next to those categories that, according to the FTA, are required for us to provide as as a discount to our customers, the 50% off the full rate. So here's the new proposed category called Equifare and how it lines up or how it compares to our standard fare. You'll see that the Equifare rate is $1 versus the standard fare rate of $1.25. The day pass being $2 on Equifare and $2.50 on a standard fare rate. You can see that there's a significant amount of savings here on the monthly passes for both local and commuter fares, and we think that this is a good place for us to start, a good place for our board to start in considering what the discounted rate could be for this new category. One of the questions that we have as an agency is how should we determine eligibility for the fare category? We've looked at some examples of programs like this around the country to other transit agencies. Also looked here at home with the this is also a great place for us to hear from our community if we have captured all of the right eligibility requirements here. So should this program or should these eligibility requirements be extended and include other types of qualifications, or is this a good list? Is less than 200% of federal. It could be an either or. You're either in these programs and participating in these that are listed on the screen, or you have that household income of less than 200% of federal poverty level. Here's an example of what a customer trip and a day could look like with using fare capping and Equifare. So in this example, we're going to use the name of Victoria. Victoria is one of our customers who rides a local bus. And on Monday, she's using her AMP account using Equifare, the Equifare rate and fare capping. So in that single ride, she's going to spend $1 on her fare, and then on ride 2, she's going to spend another $1. By the time she gets to ride 3 and the rest of her rides throughout the day, she has earned the value of that day pass, and her fares are capped. She won't pay any more for the day. The rest of the month. So again, once you've reached that amount to earn that pass, you won't pay for any additional rides with CapMetro. We're looking at some other potential Equifare best practices here, which include self-verification. So as you sign up and register on our site, could we have it to where you attest that you are eligible or you're receiving some of those you're participating in those fare programs that we talked about earlier, or your household income is 200% of the federal poverty level. If you attest to that without having to provide very specific detailed documentation to us, could we put this on the honor system? That's something we'd like to consider. It would make the registration process for the program a little more efficient that way, and we would like to consider that as an option. For online enrollment and application, we're looking at other best practices. So we'll look at how the city is doing some of their enrollment programs, how other transit agencies have been registering people online for programs like this, and pull some of the best practices from those agencies too, so we can make it as simple as possible. As I mentioned before, we're going to be at pop-up events or events all throughout the community where we can talk about these programs in person, register people on the spot, and give them those AMP cards so they can begin to use them immediately. Some of the other programs or details here that we're looking at will also help us to consider ways that we can make it as frictionless as possible for people to be enrolled in the program and stay enrolled in the program, and keep it to where they have as few barriers as possible for getting the best rate. Here's some when we're talking about the enrollment process, who and what do we need to consider? We also need to think about the organization. How can CapMetro help you enroll your clients in these areas? And then what communities do we need to consider that would be impacted by these changes? These are areas that we know that we have to work through and talk through. And then so what's next? We know that we have to do extensive community engagement, and I think Edna has a lot more details here that she'll share related to this next phase of the process.
Thank you, Brian. So extensive community engagement. So this is the start of our community engagement. The next step is to continue with extensive community engagement through partnerships and engagement. We know that community-based organizations, leaders, and local agencies will be necessary for successfully implementing the AMP account and the new FAIR program we're proposing. So that's why we want to partner with our community leaders, and we have identified a list of nonprofits and agencies, and we're hoping to work with folks from Foundation Communities, Austin Area Urban League, Casa Marianela, ECHO, and many others. So that will be very important in the next 2 months. A few communications and community engagement efforts that we're rolling out. This is a pretty extensive list, but just to name a few. So we'll have the web page that we will continue to update. So if you want the most updated information on the programs, on the community meetings that are coming up, that is definitely the best place to go, and we'll have that link at the end of the presentation. Social media will also have updates, and we're trying to advertise for these community meetings or any in-person opportunities. And once we roll out, we'll definitely have a much more robust social media plan. Educational flyers and informational ones that we'll be passing out again to a lot of partners. Messaging in the buses, bus message center, and also the bus placards. Engagement, and I know Brian said a lot of this, but at staff outreach as well, community events, partnering to do presentations, which will also have the email. If your organization or if your network would like this meeting, we can do that, and we can go and collect feedback and make sure everybody has the information, especially for rollout. Also, what's next? We have the Title VI analysis. CapMetro has committed to the Federal Transit Administration Title VI objectives, ensuring that FTA-assisted benefits and related services are made available and are equitably distributed without regard to race, color, or national origin. So this is required when there's any potential changes to fare structures, and that's happening right now. And the results of the analysis will be shared publicly before CapMetro staff proposes fare structure changes for board approval. Also with next steps, so we'll be conducting another set of these virtual meetings, and we will schedule them for early May, possibly late April. But again, the best place to learn about those will be our website. We are going to our board advisory committees and our DEI advisory group this month, and any follow-up we'll also do in May. We are meeting with City of Austin staff to talk about best practices, what they've done, what they've learned from their programs, and also with Travis County. We also want to talk to Central Health and Community Care, since they deal with a lot of eligibility for their MAP program. We will be doing the AdStop events and also our Meet CapMetro events to make sure we're reaching our riders. And again, we have to do a lot of work with one-on-one meetings with our organizations that deal with clients who need to learn about this. So figuring out a way of partnering for this, definitely near term, but also the long term for implementation. And then also we are exploring the database integrations for online eligibility verification to potentially reduce the manual process. And that concludes our meeting. I know we had a few questions, but if you have any other questions, please put them in the chat. If you don't have a question right now, but you have one later, you can email us at engage@capmetro.org. And also that is the link to our website, capmetro.org/fair-programs. And that will have all of the community meetings I just mentioned, other opportunities for engagement, an online survey in the next coming weeks, and then just information for any questions. So we're here. And again, if you need a meeting or you would like to request kind of this presentation to your groups, please let us know and we will certainly do that. But I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. So this is just the beginning, so we hope you join us again. If there are no more questions, I'm gonna check one more time. I think that concludes our presentation. So again, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it and have a great day.